Good morning, campers. I want to chat today about high vibration, low vibration. What does it mean? What do we mean when we say we have to have high vibration? How to have high vibration? How to raise our vibration? How to maintain it high? So, if you're someone that you struggle to fully understand these concepts, it seems like quite basic when we talk about spirituality and the topics that we cover on my channel. But I want to give you a little bit of background. Why do I want to make this video? So on my recent yoga class, there's been a conversation and someone mentioned that, we're magnetic beings and we're constantly attracting, which is true as per law of attraction. We attract through our vibration, not what we want, not what we desire, not what we wish, not what we hope for, but what we are. We can only attract things, not necessarily same as we are, exact copy, but we can only attract things and people who overall vibrate on a same or similar vibration as ours. This is why through raising our vibration, we can attract better things into our life. So someone asked, if that's the case, how can we then raise our vibration, and how can we protect ourselves from not attracting things of lower vibration? And there's been a conversation around crystals and protecting yourself with crystals, with tourmalines and obsidians and so on and so forth. So I wanted to address this on my channel, on my platform, to give you guys clarity, because this is what sometimes happens when we confuse certain spiritual concepts. And if you follow me already, you know that right now I am doing a series about spiritual practices. So every day I'm breaking down for you certain spiritual practices as yoga, Reiki, sound healing, where we're doing shadow work, meditation, and so on and so forth. And I've given you guys an analogy that I feel beautifully shows also in this case. Just before we start to break down what it means to have a high vibration, I've given you guys an analogy that when you are not, maybe not okay, when you're embarking on a journey of spirituality, it's like being in a boat, right? And imagine that in that boat, in the middle of a sea, you have a hole in that boat. So water starts coming in. There's going to be some spiritual practices that will be similar to taking that water out, right? So you're making things better. And in the moment, you're having less water in your boat, but you're not really addressing the core issue, right? So those are practices that are helpful, are powerful, that really work, like sound healing, like yoga, like working with crystals, Reiki, energy work. But they're not really addressing the core issue. And as long as you don't address the core issue, as long as you don't fix the hole, and that is something that you do through the second category of spiritual practices, like shadow work, actual inner work, contemplation, finger on you, hermiting within yourself, you will never permanently raise your vibration. Right? Because it's like constantly addressing the effect and removing the effect without addressing the root cause. So let's talk about what does it really mean to have high, low vibration, where it comes from, our vibration, what determines our vibration. So we know that everything in this physical world that we live in, right, is energy. And energy vibrates on a specific frequency. And depending on what that is, everything, every object will have its unique frequency. So for example, let's take emotions. Emotions, it's something that we know in the world of spirituality and also in the world of science and physics. We know that emotion that we feel in a certain moment has a specific vibration. So the emotion that we are feeling influences our vibration. And on a spectrum of that frequency, emotions like sadness, grief, envy, jealousy, lust, pride, they will have a lower vibration. Whereas on the other side of the spectrum, we're going to have humility, love, joy, bliss, abundance, right? And hope, faith, and those kind of emotions, peace. Those kind of emotions will have higher frequency, right? So whatever emotions you are feeling mostly throughout the day, it's a complex thing because, as you guys know, I also love highlighting this to you. Most humans are really confused on how they are feeling. They're really confused in really detecting the emotions. This is also, side note, a reason why I created my newest Oracle deck that is supposed to teach you and help you to really understand every emotion, because every emotion has a side of shadow and respective side of light. But that's a whole different topic. So just to give you an example, because emotion is just an example and everything has certain frequency. So if you're going to have a person, for example, let's describe an exemplary Friday, right? You get up almost on a clock, almost late for work. The first thing that you have is, oh my God, why do I have to go to this work? I hate this job. And then you go to your job, you think negatively about your boss, about your colleagues, you spend your day gossiping about others. You spend your day sort of in this mindset of, I want this day to end. And then you leave, you grab yourself a burger, you go home, you get change, and you go to a club with your friends, have some drinks, have some party. Maybe occasionally you meet random new people. Conversations are basically shallow. It's entertainment and distractions. And then you go home and you sleep all day on Saturday, right? Your vibration is going to be quite low, because this is not a day of someone who takes care of themselves, who love themselves, who is focused on growth, on expansion. It's a very shallow, again, no judgment, we're just comparing here. The core of shadow work, and I love highlighting this to you guys, it's not that something is bad and something is good. Good and evil, it's a polarity illusion of this world. Everything is truly neutral. But it's a spectrum of a choice. So if you're taking choices that lead you to that first example of life, of Friday, your vibration is going to be quite low. So by default and by law of attraction, you're going to be attracting things of lower vibration, same as yours. Now, if your Friday is, you get up in the morning, you fix yourself a healthy breakfast, you take care of yourself, you dress yourself nicely, you go to work, you are grateful. You're grateful that you're alive. You're grateful that you're healthy. You're grateful that you have a job. You do your job to the best of your abilities. You engage positively with your colleagues. And then you go back home. You take a shower. You cook yourself a beautiful, healthy meal. And then you do something for yourself. So either maybe you have a passion. So you go to dancing class, or you go to yoga class, or you read a book, or you snuggle in your bed, whatever your body feels. You generally treat people with kindness. You only engage with people that you know that you have a true soul connection with, people who see you, who understand you. You can talk about meaning of life and so on, so forth. So in comparison to that first example, these are two very drastic examples. Obviously, we are trying our best, but your vibration is going to be high. So again, by a law of attraction, you're going to be attracting things that are of high vibration. Now, if you live a life, it doesn't necessarily have to be as drastic as the first example, but if you still, do things on a quite regular basis that are not great for your body, so poor quality foods, fast foods, alcohol, if your relationships are shallow, if you don't have the self-love to remove things that are not serving, if you still on a sort of a regular weekly basis feel emotions like sadness, disappointment, urgency, impatience, entitlement, envy, and so on and so forth, no amount of tourmalines, no amount of obsidians, no amount of salt, no amount of yoga, Reiki, and no amount of holy water will save you from attracting things of low vibration, because you yourself are of lower vibration. So the point here is for you guys to really truly understand that it is only through an internal shift It is only through an internal shift that addresses the root cause, heals the root cause that is causing a specific emotion within us. You will be able to permanently and effortlessly, without constant practices, rise your vibration. So what I mean by that, if you embark on a journey of healing where you do shadow work, you do inner work, you look inwards through meditation, contemplation, journaling. Again, you can go ahead and watch my series about spiritual practices where I explain each of these practices. During those practices, you reach inwards to examine your wounds. And we all have core wounds in a different spectrum, in a different background, but all people carry core wounds. Father wound, mother wound, abandonment wound, rejection wound, worthiness wound. You examine these and you start to connect the dots. Those are the core wounds. Those are the emotions that these wounds cause. So if I'm constantly disappointed, or if I'm constantly entitled, if I constantly look at someone and I feel envy, like they have it better, what core wound within me is causing this emotion? What core wound within me is causing certain low vibrational behavioral patterns that I do in my life? Once I know this, where did this wound come from in my life? How do I heal? How do I accept it? How do I understand it? How do I give it love? Right? And through this kind of work, when you, for example, remove, let's give an example, when you heal through this process, your abandonment wound, right? And in consequence, you heal all the emotion that it may cause. That is again, plethora of options, right? If you have abandonment wound, you can have, you can actually feel that envy as well towards others. You can have urgency to have certain things in your life, to have certain people do certain things for you, make you feel a certain way, so on and so forth. Again, these are complicated topics. That's why we embark on a journey of shadow work, and I don't want to go into that. But this abandoned wound is going to cause plethora of emotions. It's going to cause avoidance as well within you, right? Or anxiety. So through this wound, through understanding this wound, addressing this wound, the removal of these emotions is effortless. Because once you've healed the wound, this is the root cause. You stop feeling these emotions. They appear less and less and less, with less impact, with less strength, with less need to act on it. You start to be in control as you heal that wound. So whether your true healing, core healing, your true shadow work will take a year or 2 or 5, if you put your effort to it, you're going to reach a point when, because you've healed your wounds, you will effortlessly emit high vibration. You're not going to need crystals. You're not going to need protections. You're not going to need salts. You're not going to need, Reiki. All these things powerful and beautiful. You can still use these practices, right, to sort of put your vibration even higher, to cleanse your energy body. These are beautiful practices that helps us to cleanse our energy body. But you don't really have to worry, because you've risen your vibration permanently. You've anchored yourself in a higher vibration, because whatever was causing lowering of your vibration, it's permanently removed. It's been understood, it's been healed, it's been given love, it's been integrated into your psyche. So if you're someone that you're thinking about these topics and you struggle, you want to protect yourself because you feel that you have bad luck, because you attract, it's not bad luck that attracts bad things towards you. It's not someone's evil eye that attracts bad things towards you. It is you. It is you, and a core of shadow work, and I love highlighting this to you guys. It's understanding that I'm the problem. I'm the problem. It's not my neighbor that sends me evil eye. These things, they do have some impact, but very small in comparison to the root cause. It's like 80 and 20%. 80% of your problems is going to be you. And then maybe 20% it's something that you could remove with some Reiki, with some obsidians to protect yourself from people, and some practices to protect you from envy of others. But ultimately, if you rise your vibration, these things won't even be able to get you, because someone's envy, someone's evil eye, someone's spells, words are spells, so someone talking poorly about you, it won't even be able to find you in an energetic field, because you are way higher on a scale of a vibration. So instead of worrying about how much yoga, sound healing, and tourmalines I can buy and put myself literally in a bath of salts, just do shadow work. Just do shadow work. Heal your wounds, heal your traumas, understand yourself, be there for yourself, hold space for yourself, work with a good spiritual teacher to work through your shadows, to really do that inner work, hermit within that inner work, get to know the authentic you, really understand that truly for most people, 90% of things that they do, it's automated pattern coming from their wounds. So once you address that, once you heal that, protecting yourself and wanting to attract things of higher vibration will not be your problem. You will just do it effortlessly. I hope this was helpful. I invite you to check out my serious spiritual practices. You can either do that on TikTok or you can go to YouTube. There's a playlist, separate playlist, where I put all these videos in. If you are guided to start your shadow work and you are guided to do that with me, you can sign up for a session. A link is in my bio. And again, I hope this was helpful and explanatory. If you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, good luck in rising your vibration.